Hello and welcome to the Beauty Know-It-All. I must be serious, I've got my glasses to hand. Today I'm going to ask you a serious question. How old are some of your beauty products? Be honest. I reckon your hair care is probably no more than 3 months old. 6 months at the most if it's styling products, shampoo and conditioners. We go through them really quickly. Face products, up to 6 months old, maybe a year old, 18 months at a push if it's a favourite mask you only use every so often. And then what about body products? Be honest, at the back of your bathroom shelf, is there something lurking there that's possibly past its best? The reason I ask is because I recently did some filming for Channel 4 and it made me rethink how old my favourite beauty products are. Because essentially, if they are a treat product, so something you don't use absolutely every single day, they can last years, right? It's not just me. I mean, I know I was raised never to throw anything away, and I feel really guilty if I throw things away that are sort of half finished or that I suddenly go off of. But what is a sell-by date for cosmetics? What is a best before date for cosmetics and beauty products and makeup products? So I did some research, and you might be aware, you may not be aware of something called the PAO. That's the period after opening. It's a little symbol on the bottom of most products, certainly most products sold within the EU, because it's an EU directive, that has a little pot with a lid on the top and then a number and an M after it. And that's the months that a product is recommended to be used after opening, the period after opening. The problem is threefold. The problem is often that little icon is so small that you need mega goggles to find it, specifically on the bottom of lipsticks and lip liners and eye pencils, where obviously it's absolutely tiny. The other product is often that PAO is on the box. Case in point, really lovely favourite product of mine, IT Cosmetics. Translucent Bye Bye Pores, no PAO, because it was on the box. I know it was on the box because I remember looking at it when I researched this Channel 4 feature that I did. What happens? I threw the box away. Nobody keeps their cosmetics in boxes, do they? Mostly you're so excited you rip the box open and then the box goes to one side and you're just left with that. So how long do you know that you can use that for? Or, perfect case in point, little duo from Estee Lauder that I regularly use, which is their eye duo, their New Dimension eye duo. The top one is a eye balm, eye moisturizer. The second one is a really clever silicone paste that you can pat onto your eyes or actually onto your nose or to your chin, and it's got that soft focus, instant kind of pore reducing blurring effect. No sign of a PAO on that. You know why? It was on the box. And nobody keeps products in boxes on the side, do they? I don't think so. And then, like I said, lipsticks. My favourite nude lipstick, Charlotte Tilbury Bitch Please. There's a PAO on the bottom that I can't see, even with my mega goggles on. I think it said 12 months. You're a better person than I am if you can see them anyway. Maybe that's a sign I need laser eye surgery, not laser face surgery. Anyway. And they put PAOs on skincare, but the truth is that, in my opinion, most skincare should come in airtight, light, tight sealed containers. I love a pump action skincare product. These have both got PAOs of 12 months on them. But the truth is, I mean, one, you would go through them more quickly than that. But that is airtight, watertight, bacteria tight. I mean, you pump it out like that, deliberately in an opaque container, even opaque at the bottom, and you would use that within 12 months anyway. That's my retinol night cream. But the difference between those sorts of products, this is my Neostrata Bionic Face Serum as well, 12 months, written on the back. Again, a glass container, demi-opaque, because active ingredients like retinols, vitamin C, certain antioxidants, they degrade if they're exposed to the air, or they're exposed to your fingers, or they're exposed to water, or all those sorts of things. It's why I'm not particularly a fan of tubs of products. Actually, this is a SkinCeuticals eye cream, which I knocked off my bathroom shelf and I've damaged the lid. And it then makes me worry how long that's going to last for. You can see I've used that quite a lot. It's a really lovely rich balm actually. And this one has got on it 6 months. And the reason it's got 6 months on it is because of the formulation. Obviously, it can't be in a pump action. It's quite thick, quite gunky. I quite like it for nights and flights. But obviously, the reason that's got 6 months on it is not because the product will spoil in 6 months. It's because my grubby fingers have been in there. That's the main form of contamination in beauty products. It's not the product itself. It's what your grubby hands bring to that product every time you stick your finger in it. And then you go around your eyes. What have you been doing with your hands all day? Have you washed your hands before you put your body products on? Or your face products on? Or your makeup on? I'd like to think you have, but sometimes in the morning when we're super busy, what's to stop you going to the toilet and maybe not washing your hands properly and putting your makeup on and then dashing out the house, leaving the lid off of your eye cream or your face cream or your foundation or your moisturiser? That's the reality of how most beauty products are kept. They're not kept in a dark, cool area. They're kept strewn around the bathroom where your kids can pick them up, or where your husband might knock them off the shelf, or he might go to the toilet and flush the toilet, and then that micronizes all of that bacteria into the air. Where does it land? On your makeup brushes, on your makeup. Can I just say thank heavens for preservatives, because without them, all of my products would be soup. They'd be petri dishes, I'm sure. And I'm fairly aware of how to look after my beauty products. But we all lead real busy lives. So this is my advice. Use the PAO, the period after opening, not as an absolute deadline on when you should throw your products away. Think of it more as a best before rather than a sell by. You know, when you buy products from a supermarket, the sell by date, you know, is pretty hard and fast. Something is going to go off, it's going to ferment, it's going to be bad for you, possibly make you unwell after the sell by date. There's also a best before date. A best before date is normally on dried goods, so things like cosmetics. So best before date, you can kind of push. You know, a product isn't going to taste its best, maybe it'll be slightly stale, maybe the pasta might be slightly hard, maybe the jam might be slightly crystallized, but it's safe to use. It's just not at its optimum best. Think of the PAO, the period after opening, as best before, not sell by. Because otherwise I would feel really guilty throwing away products after 6 months. Who throws away a lipstick after 6 months? Mascaras and lipsticks normally are the shortest PAO on most cosmetics. And the truth is, mascaras come into contact with your eyes a lot and they tend to dry out after 6 months. It's not like they're going to get infected. But who uses a lipstick in 6 months? I certainly don't. I showed you my favourite Brilliant Charlotte Tilbury lipstick earlier on. Well, this is another favourite of mine. This is the Brilliant Lancome lip oils. They're really, really gorgeous. If you haven't tried them, they're brilliant for winter. Now that we're going into winter, they're a little sponge, and in it is a biphase lip oil. So I've just shaken that one up, but it's basically got an oil and a pigment you shake up and then you apply it. And it's just a much nicer, more glamorous way of applying a moisturiser or a balm to your lip, because it's an oil with a hint of tint. Really, really lovely product. Again, there isn't a PAO on that because it's tiny for a start, and Lancome put it on the box. What happens? I threw the box away. Be careful with lip products. Don't share lip products no matter how much you love your girlfriends, because it's actually products like this that are most at risk of transferring bacteria or viruses or funguses that live quite healthily and happily on your skin, but you don't want cross-contamination with someone else. So for example, if your girlfriend has just recovered from a cold sore or has a cold sore and uses this and then passes it back to you, there is a risk you could catch a cold sore. A small risk, but you could. Or if you're using a concealer with a little sponge on the end that goes back in and you've dabbed it on your skin and then you pass it on to your girlfriend and you dab it on her skin, what sits comfortably on her skin could irritate your skin. They're the sort of products, I think, with those little spongy applicators where you're sharing the applicator. That's the most product that's going to risk, that's the product that's most going to leave you at risk of cross-contamination. Otherwise, most of your cross-contamination is going to come from your own grubby hands or where or how you store your makeup. Please remember to put the lids back on after you use everything. And if you can, not only is there a chance you'll get a more efficacious product in an airtight pump because you know that the manufacturer has gone out of their way to keep the active ingredients active for as long as possible, but they are much more hygienic and therefore they will need less preservatives. And that kind of makes sense if you're worried about using preservatives. Personally, I'm not. But if you are, then obviously look for products that come in airtight containers. It just makes sense. Don't worry about shampoos and conditioners. You use them really quickly. Be wary of body products. For me, it's most often body products that I sneak at the back of my bathroom shelf and I take down and I think, oh, I haven't used that since last summer. It could be maybe a tinted body lotion. And then you notice that it's separated or it smells. I had a conversation with somebody the other day on Instagram. Fizzy, as they said. What they mean is fermented. You get a slightly sort of yeasty, yogurty smell off some products. It's not that they're going to do any harm for you, but just they might sensitize your skin. And the chances are they won't be at their best anyway and they won't work. So that's my guide to how long you should keep beauty products for. I think take the PAO as a best before, not a sell by date. Otherwise, we would all be spending an absolute fortune on beauty products. I don't think for a second that the beauty industry has made up these PAOs as a money-making thing. That's not true. That's not what the beauty industry is about. Let's be honest. There are enough people buying beauty products and new beauty products the whole time. But regularly sharpen your products if they're pencils. Put the lids back on things. If you can, try to keep them out of the bathroom that's warm and damp. And like I said, there's a leeway on the PAO in my opinion. It's more of a best before than a sell by. Now this was done because I had to do some research and I thought I'd impart my information and advice to you. But if you want anything answered, ask me questions on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I have a page called the Beauty Know-It-All. And obviously YouTube, which is where we are. Because the truth is, I answer every single question personally, and I'm beginning to get such a brilliant little collective of subscribers and followers, and we share advice and information. And do you know what? I even had somebody offer me some advice and information for my sister the other day who has battled rosacea, and she came up with 2 products that we'd never thought of using, and they were brilliant. That's what the Beauty Know-It-All is all about. It's about sharing advice so that we can all become beauty know-it-alls.